Look, the bottom line is, what is this show about? It's about whatever the fuck interests me at the moment. I defended you last year. Chill the fuck out. You beat them, but we're done. We don't need to hear about it for a minute. You're not in the playoffs. Be a good one-game winner against your rival. And just shut the fuck up. If you're a good announcer, what you're actually good at is stating the obvious. I'm just going to be honest. I had some little bit of tears on my way home last night before the game. That kind of stuff that's why I love sports, man. I just do. These guys are just a team. They just embody everything about what a team is. This is basketball. This is real basketball. And that was such a good game. So a couple other things going on that are also a very, very big deal, and it's also affecting sports. President-elect Trump, during his first administration, put Gavin Newsom on notice for his handling of repeated wildfires in the state, years ahead of the devastating Los Angeles wildfire 2019. So this has been going on for a while. And so that's one issue, is just the bad management. Well, when you have nothing but basically kindling on the ground, and then you don't have rain, you're just asking for fucking trouble. I loved Malibu. What's going to be left of Malibu? Immediately, they want to go to climate change. But when we go to blame them, the leadership in California, oh, how dare we blame the leadership of California while people are still struggling and trying to protect their lives and get out. Like, you people do that shit. You're doing the same thing. This is not climate change. So he knew what to do. He didn't do it, and then he lied about doing it. And now we know he didn't do it, besides this investigation, because we have the fire to prove it. I know liberals like to think that we don't care about that shit, but we do. Here's the difference. I don't prioritize that shit over human motherfucking life. Some people are not going to like this. I'm not searching for shit to target and to kill. That's not what he said. And I know people don't like to hear that kind of stuff, but don't care. Yeah, it's the truth. I just don't believe that Mother Nature is as fragile as the environmentalists think. This doesn't end well unless it ends. Can't just report the fucking obvious.
I don't care what a critic got to say, I got them picking up the pieces. That me, you really playing with your life, I'm about to come and run it all back. I'm the new era, about to snap back. You ain't fitting for it, cause you all care like.
This is the Outlaw Apostle Podcast. I'm your host, Troy Neff. I'm the motherfucking guy. The motherfucking guy is back from Mexico. We are back recording, and that's Chase.
Yo, what's up, man? I miss being in this house. I'm not gonna lie. It felt weird not coming in and recording an episode this earlier in the week. So I'm glad we're back at it.
I knew when you were working on our stuff though, because I got alerts. I got fraud alerts about like MacBook.
Oh, people signing in and stuff like that.
Signing in.
Oh,
I'm like,
okay.
I bet that's Chase.
Yeah, the internet over there in Mexico was not very good. I'll tell you that. It was, we still live a little, funny enough, I was going to bring this up, that I live in a part of Mexico where debit cards are barely starting to be like a thing. Like, we don't even use like Venmo or like anything out there. So it's 99.9% all cash. Yeah, like that's like that's part of the area where we still live in Mexico. Like most people don't have Wi-Fi and stuff like that. So like using up all my like hotspot data and stuff like that. But we got done what we needed to get done, which is
whatever you need. You just tell, like, because we talked about it. You could travel with Starlink.
Yes, that crazy enough the entire time
you could have had that.
That's what I was looking into.
To take it. Fuck yeah, we gotta really pursue that. We have a few things we need to get going on, and we're already pushing into the middle of the month. It feels like.
I feel like this month.
What's the 10th?
Quick.
And remember, the last episode that's up, I was just listening to it this morning in the shower.
Nice.
Which I always do. That we talked about National Quitting Day.
Yes. January 10th.
And it's January 10th. This is the day when people quit their New Year's resolutions or the average or whatever it is. And I'm keeping it real simple this morning.
Okay.
I have one message. Don't quit. Don't quit. And if you quit 2 days ago, start again today. But don't quit. That's all.
Nice and simple, no?
That,
I like it. It's not that time of the year, guys. You know, you got to keep on pushing.
You got to keep on pushing.
Hell yeah.
Do the hard. That's it. Don't quit. Do the hard. It'll be okay.
Hell yeah.
It'll be worth it.
Hell yeah, Will.
Wow. What a game last night.
Yes.
Notre Dame and Penn State. I got my helmet back out because it was good luck. We had that out last episode. So until the national championship game is played and over, I'm leaving it out. So who will they be facing? It's going to be either Texas or Ohio State. That game is today.
That's today.
And I'm picking and put my money on Ohio State.
Okay. All right. No Ohio State versus Notre Dame.
I'm okay if they don't win. I was trying to think who would Notre Dame better match up against.
Okay.
And I really didn't come up with a conclusion because as talented as Ohio State is, and they are the most talented team.
Okay.
And Michigan fans, you won the championship last year. Okay. I defended you last year. Chill the fuck out. You beat them, but we're done. We don't need to hear about it for a minute. You're not in the playoffs. Be a good one game winner against your rival. And just shut the fuck up. I mean, you're not in this conversation. And you're not in this conversation because you didn't play well enough to be in the conversation.
Yeah.
It's not complicated. And yet people taking shots at Notre Dame because their one loss. Penn State had 2. Their one loss was considered a bad loss because it was a low-end MAC team. You know, a low-end Division I team that they lost against. It's only happened in the pros one time, and now that the professional NFL seasons are even longer, it might never happen again, and that's an undefeated season where you win the Super Bowl.
Okay.
It's only happened once, and that was Miami, but I believe that's when the seasons were probably 14 games. The regular season was 14 games. Okay, so yeah, 3 games is a big difference. And now our playoffs are expanded too. You know, so it's just there's more games
more
to make it even harder.
Yeah.
Now, it does happen in college football. It has happened before in college football.
It's a lot more common to happen.
Yes, to be undefeated, but that's also when, you know, it wasn't that long ago when you just had a championship game, basically. And there was a time before that somebody was named the champion and there wasn't an official championship game. It's just done by the rankings.
Okay,
it was
gotcha.
just done by the rankings. And then we went to and the last game played like where there was just a championship game was Notre Dame and Alabama in Miami in the Orange Bowl.
Oh wow.
And then after that they started with the 4 teams, the 4-team playoff,
Gotcha.
the 2 semifinal games and then the final game.
Okay.
And then now we have the expanded playoffs. We have 12 teams. And one observation, you know, most announcers are very good. If you're a good announcer, what you're actually good at is stating the obvious. That's what they're really doing.
Yeah.
You just saw it happen, and they're just telling you what you just saw.
Yeah.
Stating the obvious. I haven't heard anyone else say this, So my thing, one of the things I thought was a little different, at the end of the college football season, the teams would go to various bowl games.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Until we had the 14 playoff and then now the 12. But this year's winner, because you did have in the 14 playoff, whoever the winner was actually won 2 bowl games. Now, that never used to happen. You played in 1 bowl game.
Okay.
This year, though,
you're having to play one after the
other. The first round, you're not playing a bowl game if you're in the first round. If you don't get a bye,
okay,
you're playing at somebody's home stadium.
Yeah.
And then in the quarterfinals, you start with the bowls.
Yeah.
And, just like last night in the semifinal, it was the Orange Bowl, and today will be the Cotton Bowl. And then I believe the championship game is the Sugar Bowl.
I believe I was reading that, yeah.
So, but we'll have won the champion, whoever the eventual champion is, will have won 3 bowl games in the same season. And I just thought it was interesting because, you got the trophy, you put it in your trophy cabinet and stuff, and like, oh, this is the bowl we won in 25, Now it's going to be, these are the 3 bowls we won.
Get a collection
of
trophies.
A collection, just the one. And of course, the national championship.
That's actually pretty dope then. Like actually like having like more than one kind of like step that you're kind of looking forward to. Like maybe, you don't go home with all of them, but you go home with like 3 different trophies. I mean, it's not too horrible a season than it is not going home with any trophy and then still, so like, I guess I like the idea of that. It's not too bad.
I don't know what they'll do to tweak it in the future. Probably will be, but we'll see. But just, it is kind of cool. I really do think Ohio State is the most talented, has the most talented roster in college football. And if they end up playing Notre Dame, I think that is for the very first expanded playoffs. Yeah. That's 2 legendary programs. And in Texas, I would be considered too.
Say Texas, yeah.
But I don't know. I think Ohio State, and I'm probably biased on that growing up in Ohio.
Yeah.
But
they just seem like they have
long. Been around a long time. And Ohio State has been competitive at the upper levels with the very best programs
for a lot longer than Texas has.
Well, for the last 25 years,
yeah,
they've been there. Now, Texas has had their moments, but consistency wise, Ohio State has been there. They've, I've said it before, they've literally carried the Big Ten until Michigan finally stepped up and competed. And Michigan finally winning again, putting together a good program. So I think 2 great programs. And then last night for Notre Dame, they've been in a lot of big games. They've been on big stages, but for the last pretty much 30 years, whenever they've gotten to that big stage, they've lost.
Okay.
And even though last night was a semifinal game and not the championship game, it was still a big stage.
It was a big game, that's for
sure. Very important for them to win and turning a corner. The previous coach for Notre Dame left, Brian Kelly, and went to LSU. And one of the reasons he kind of gave as why he took this other job.
Yeah.
Because the Notre Dame job is one of the better jobs you can have as a college football coach. I mean, it's up there. That's a high end. How do you want to put it? That's a
like the
coach
name behind him.
You'd want to coach for Notre Dame, Ohio State or Michigan, Alabama, Georgia,
the big name
Texas, USC, even though they haven't had the same
best,
glory
yeah.
that they've had, have had in the past. There's a lot of history there as well. But he said that, that he didn't think he could win a national championship there.
At Notre Dame?
At Notre Dame.
And look at them now.
And look at them now. That's exactly the point, and many people have pointed that out for sure. Because of the standards at Notre Dame, as far as academic standards and things like that, and, just recruiting and things like that. Well, they dipped into the portal a little bit, but I think they only got like 13 players, which is really nothing
compared to like other teams.
Now, they got two very important players that were very important in last night's game, and that was the quarterback, Lincoln Riley, who came from Duke, and then also the kicker. Maybe he came from South Carolina? Jeter? I don't know where he came from for sure, but I think it was South Carolina. But both of them were taken out of the portal, recruited out of the portal. And obviously very, very important. And the backup played a great role yesterday and came in and delivered on that drive, at least got some points and started to move the ball before the half was over, which put Notre Dame in a good position because they were getting the ball back at the beginning of the second half. Yeah.
No, I was looking at that, and
yeah, South Carolina. Well, I think he went to South Carolina too. But but very cool. Very cool.
It was
and like it was also kind of neat because it looked like Notre Dame's kicker, or the kickers, not just him, but when he was hurt, other people who filled in, didn't do well, and even him personally, but there were a number of kicks that he attempted where he attempted them and he was hurt and probably shouldn't have attempted them at all. And that affected his numbers because he actually was a really highly accurate kicker before coming to Notre Dame. And since the beginning of the playoffs, he has been accurate again. During the regular season, not necessarily so much, but definitely now he has been. And I didn't mind seeing the game being put in his hands at the end.
Gotcha.
And that was cool for him. I actually had a little bit. I'm just going to be honest. I had some little bit of tears on my way home last night before the game.
Before the game, okay.
Before the game, I was listening to Game Day.
Okay.
On my phone because I have YouTube, TV on my phone. I was listening to it prior to the game, and they shared a story about Notre Dame's special teams coach, and his father graduated, was an alumni of Notre Dame, and his father was sick and was basically on his deathbed. And he passed almost immediately after their win a week ago. Yeah. Just almost like it was almost like God kept him alive
enough to
see that. And because that stuff, that's why I love sports, man. I just do. And I believe in all that shit too. That, his son, as the special teams coach, the special teams on the first playoff game for Notre Dame, well, that was absolutely the quarterfinal game. That was absolutely special teams contributed huge, a run back for a touchdown, and just to see that, and that his son, did that and was a part of the program. It's just really cool. Yeah. And he had some other things going on with his wife, who had recently had a baby, and that kind of stuff, and went to the hospital, but she's all good and things are all good there. But just the personal things he went through, while also the team is having this success. Kind of reminded me a little bit of my talk about the end of the year and how my year was, and how you want to look at it. That you have these things that anybody would look at and say, wow, what an incredibly successful year. Yeah, it was incredibly successful, except my dad died. Incredibly successful, except that, my wife had issues, post delivery or things like that, or whatever other issues he had and went through over the course of the year. And mine's just the mindset and what you choose to look at and how you compartmentalize things. So that's definitely interesting, but totally excited. I screwed up though. And I didn't buy my national championship tickets a week ago. I was a pussy and I didn't do it. I waited because I didn't want to buy the tickets and then
have to like resell them
because I didn't have any success reselling my Steeler tickets. But then again, I was in the hospital and it was very last second when they played Las Vegas. So I kind of wanted to wait, and I did set up, like I'm paying a little bit more per night, not much, maybe $30-$40 a night, and it's a little bit more per night for the hotel, but I was able to cancel the hotel up to maybe the 14th or whatever the date was. Like I had some room that if Notre Dame didn't go and we decided not to go to the game at all, and maybe I would have decided that we went anyways. I grew up an Ohio State fan. The very first national championship game I ever went to was Ohio State and Miami here in Arizona. It was in Tempe. That maybe I would have. I don't know. But so tickets were a little bit more. My tickets are in section 124, which is going to put us at about the 15 to 20 yard line, 16 rows up, which is down there. We're down in that lower bowl, and they were $3,003 a piece. Piece.
But it should be still a good time.
Should be a great time. The fees, for people who want to know, and taxes were like $1,800. So all total, two tickets, national championship game, $7,800. And then you throw the hotel in there, easily puts me over 10 grand. The first class flights would have been a couple grand each, except that I used my points that I had accumulated. So I didn't have, so my first class tickets were only $44.
Whew. That's actually like really nice. $44 for first class tickets.
Ooh. For two, yes.
Oh yeah. Is Dawn excited to go as well?
Yeah, she's very excited. To be her first national championship game. She just absolutely loves football. It's probably, I enjoyed football with my daughter, when she was growing up.
Yeah.
And she's just an amazing kid, just loves football. But relationship-wise, I don't think I've ever been in a relationship and been with somebody and enjoyed football season more than this one this past year.
Oh, yeah.
And just because she loves football.
Being able to talk about football and
stuff
like that.
we never got to that point where, some of them used to tolerate it, and then it'd be like, okay, dude, this is like the 5th game this weekend or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Never happened.
You just turn on the football.
Dude,
and
we
watching.
watched the Jackrabbits. Isn't that what they were? North Dakota State or one of those teams, or
is it college?
College football.
South Dakota?
South Dakota. See them. We even watched them play in a playoff game.
Interesting. I don't even know who this is?
I don't know what to tell you. It's like the lowest level of college football. You know what I mean?
Okay. So even the lowest tier of football, you can still sit down and enjoy the game.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty dope.
And
I don't know a lot of women
now
that sit there and watch.
we're looking to, the UFL. We like football. I don't know what to say. This is the Outlaw Apostle podcast that you're listening to. I'm Troy Neff, your host. Glad to be here. A couple times a week, we put up new episodes. Please share the episodes for us. We are growing slowly, but we're growing. I am dragging people to the show. Everything I can do, you drag somebody along too. I appreciate it. I'm the fucking guy. But we do like other things as well. I watched the Cleveland Cavaliers, probably the best basketball game I've seen in years and years and years.
I didn't realize the Cavaliers were doing so well this year.
They are 4 losses, and they played a 5-loss Oklahoma City Thunder team. And, these kind of games don't come around that often, where the best team in each conference play each other and have such great records. Now, I remember the season when Michael Jordan was almost unstoppable, like literally unstoppable.
When he came back, or once he was still already in the league?
I'd have to look. I don't know. But I do know that they had the record for a while after that season, that they were 72-10. The NBA plays 82 games. They were 72-10. And then I believe it was the Golden State Warriors who broke that record, and 73-9. I think they might have that record now. And so, technically speaking, the Cavaliers have a chance to break the regular season win-loss record. Because with only 4 losses, we're not quite halfway through yet, but we're close now. And
I mean, and like this, I'm not like sure how much knowledge of basketball I have, but from what I can put together, like these last few years have been like the most competitive years of basketball that there has been since the kind of decline of the LeBrons and
the Warriors,
and you have that generation's getting older, so you're getting the brand new generation of the superstars and stuff that.
I don't know how many years in a row it's been now. If it's 3, if it's 5, it's somewhere like that, where we've had different champions each year.
Exactly, yeah.
Where there's
a new team always competing for
nobody's winning back to back. It's parity or whatever they wanted to do, even things out, which is good. But the cool thing about the Cleveland Cavaliers, even though they have players that have played in the All-Star game or have been named All-Stars, it's more of a roster that is, these guys are just a team. They just embody everything about what a team is.
Yeah.
And being totally unselfish to win ball games and play defense, and the passing is it's basketball because it's been a number of years now, over a decade, that older people my age complain and say, I don't really watch the NBA anymore. And, the game, the taking 5 steps, you're supposed to dribble somewhere in there, dude, and stuff, and just a different game than what we grew up with. This is basketball. This is real basketball. And that was such a good game between the Cavaliers and Oklahoma City Thunder. And I've said, I don't like betting on those kind of games.
Yeah.
The 2 best teams, I'm going to bet on who's going to win between the 2 best teams. So I rarely do that. I did that, though, with the Lions and the Vikings.
Nice.
And I did it in this game. Because that's the thing. that so far, at least this season, the Cavaliers have beaten
Pretty
the
much
good
everyone.
teams. Yeah, they're beating the good teams. You know, they're just not beating the shitty teams. They're beating the good teams. So I have done that. And I crossed 4,000
Hell yeah.
on my DraftKings account. So recap, I put in 500, another 500, and then a third 500. I put in $1,500 total and almost wiped out of that third 500. And then for a while, I kept winning and losing about the same $1,000. And, you know, I started consistently betting almost everything. Consistently betting, you know, with the NBA, the NHL. I've done really good with the NHL, you know, football, you know, sometimes better than others, but I've had some nice big days. But now total, I finally hit 4,200, and I wanted to get, you know, my first big thing, and it was just not too long ago. I kept complaining, I just want to get over 3,000 and stay over 3,000. Yeah. And now to do that at the 4,000 mark. So really, you know, I have 2,500 of their money. I could pull my original 1,500 out and just play with their money and bet with their money.
I remember you
and
saying,
I kind of like that. Episode. That's kind of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They like
so
playing
just
with
a quick
money.
update. I'm doing good.
Hell yeah, man.
But the truth is, and I'm always honest, I don't win every time. Nobody does. But my goal isn't to win every time. My goal is to win 70% of the time, which is 70%. You make money at 70%, I promise.
Oh, yeah.
I promise you.
Oh, yeah.
Because I'm doing it.
I was about to say, you're a living point for sure.
Yeah.
So are you going to be betting on the upcoming championship?
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course. It'll just depend. Most of the time, like in the game last night, when I placed the bet, Notre Dame was maybe the favorite, and then it changed, and Penn State became the favorite at the end, but I couldn't change mine, you know. Already, yeah. And I don't understand why. I was listening to guys talk about it on whatever sports network, and I don't understand why they don't know why that is. It's not that more people thought necessarily that Penn State was all of a sudden going to win, because there was no announcement that somebody wasn't going to play or something like that, that would move the bets and stuff. Okay. The reason it would be done is because there's a certain amount of money being done on the Notre Dame side and done a little heavier on that side. And for people in the gambling business, they like that spread more even. So they make money on that, that little difference in there, and they make a lot of money on that difference. So, you know, they'll move the line sometimes to make it more attractive for you to change your bet or place your bet maybe in a way that you wouldn't have before, because now this other team that was -1.5 is +2.5 or whatever now, kind of a thing. But that's why it's done. And I thought most sports people knew it, and I would expect most sports journalists and commentators to kind know
of
that.
About it,
Well, and because it's so prominent now, betting is so fucking prominent out there in sports, in your face.
No, you can't go around watching like games without you getting an advertisement on, hey, betting MGM or whatever it be. Like, there's always going to be some sort of betting commercial throughout the game, before the game, after the game. You're always going to see they always pull up the sets, right? Like, who's the favorite currently, and like where it's changed.
And they talk about the lines. That used to be specialty shows. That would be like that, and it wouldn't be your traditional broadcasters talking about it. Now it is.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because that's big business. Let's just be honest, it's big business.
You can't have sports without betting nowadays.
There was always betting. It's just about making it legal.
Yeah.
You know?
In all 50 states.
Pretty much.
Not there yet, but yeah.
Pretty much, yeah. Kind of weird sometimes depending on which company you're with or do things kind of thing. Or even it's funny, like when I haven't been out to the casino recently, but we're going with some friends on Saturday night. Like I'll have to have all my bets in before we get to the casino, because when I'm on the reservation, when I'm at the casino,
It
I
doesn't
can't.
let you.
No,
What? Even though you're in the
it's
state
like
of Arizona, it's like a.
I'm not in the state of Arizona.
Oh, because
I'm
you're
on the
reservation.
reservation.
That's funny how that works.
It's like its own little fucking country.
That's funny. That's a little annoying if you ask me, but that's
It is annoying,
So
dude.
are you still able to log in and check your bets?
I
and
can
stuff
check
like that?
bets
Okay.
that I have seen,
You just can't
but
place any new ones.
yeah, and I can't do any say in-game bets like I just did last night.
Oh,
You
okay.
know, that I did believe in my Fighting Irish.
Yeah.
That there was a point where Notre Dame was getting 9.5 points because they were losing
10-0.
by 10-0 or whatever it was. So I did the money line,
Okay.
which means I'm betting on them to win. I did take that. So that means the payout was even more.
Yeah.
So $50 paid 200 and something. And I did that in game. And then besides my other bet where I bet on Notre Dame, I won that one too. So I won a couple of them.
So you
But
said a second
I
one.
basically placed a second bet that was going to pay me out more without putting a lot of money down. And I believed that they were going to win.
And
they
that
did.
they did. Hell yeah,
That
man.
they did. That they did.
It was a close game, a lot of back and forth, but hey, at the end of the game, that's all that matters. They took home the dub.
I'm excited about going to Atlanta. So
I'm excited for you, honestly. Like last night, like while I was working there, like listening to the video, I was like, it's gonna happen, man. It's really gonna happen. Because like there's
I appreciate you put good vibes out.
Like you said,
It's
like
important.
the whole like law of attraction and stuff like that. I was like, you know what? Because I know he already bought the ticket to the hotel, the first class tickets. And I was like, you know what? It's gonna happen. Let me just let him enjoy that game.
And so here we are recording in the morning. But that's usually I'm sorry for it, folks, but usually look, the bottom line is, what is this show about? It's about whatever the fuck interests me at the moment.
Yes, it is.
It just is.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Ain't nothing
So
wrong with that.
we don't usually do this long of sports segments, but
hey, it's just what's hot right now, you know? Nothing wrong with that. Got a lot of I mean, college football. I mean, like at the beginning when we first started this show, like that's like one of the first things we started talking about was, you know, doing the whole like playoff prediction, the whole scuffed one that we did. So I mean, nothing wrong with.
And you should go back and look and pull up a clip of what I said about Notre Dame, because I said they could possibly go undefeated, but I'm pretty sure I said, now I didn't expect the one loss to be against Northern Illinois.
Yeah.
But I did call one loss was most probable, and for them to be one of the top teams going into the
I'll go back and send you a clip or two and see
that would
what
be kind of cool.
The then and now.
Yeah, I kind of like that. So a couple other things going on that are also a very, very big deal, and it's also affecting sports, is the terrible wildfires happening in California. Here's the thing. These wildfires, maybe they don't happen every year. Well, and certainly not to this level, because this may end up being one of the biggest ones ever. But pretty big, you know. And if your house is one that goes up, even in a year where it's not considered that big of fires, well, it sucks for you. So it just sucks.
A lot of people out there have been, and it started in the middle of the night or something. I remember seeing it at like 2 a.m, where like news first started kind of like covering it, where it started with 2 people dead, and then now we're up to like 7.
that it moved because
Quick.
of all of these different influences happening at the same time, basically.
Yeah.
Like a perfect storm
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
what I would call it. But go to the front page of Fox News. And it should be at the top. Yeah, scroll. You hold it. Yeah, that I had an article from there, but it doesn't look like it's in that. It was just under there for the fire thing at the top. Go down just slightly. Yeah, where it said heartbreaking, it was in there, but it doesn't seem to be now. But basically, Trump in 2019, all right,
Okay.
and I have it on my phone.
Okay.
But I didn't do the link, so I can't do that. I just took a snapshot of it so I could use it for a post.
Gotcha.
But I can pull it up quickly. That Trump had a message for Gavin Newsom back in 2019. Oh, I'm looking on Facebook and I put it on X. Dude, guess what?
Are you up? Are you up?
I've gotten 7 new followers.
Hell yeah. On X?
Yeah.
Hell yeah. Hey.
I was going nowhere. I'd get 2, lose 2. I was going nowhere.
Hey,
But I started commenting more on a bunch of shit.
Uh-huh.
And I think those comments have helped me get a few people.
Hey, hell yeah. Now those
Like
numbers,
especially taking on these whack job liberals.
all the fun people on X.
Oh my God. Dumbass shit. Yeah, see, I'm at 137. Woo!
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
The fuck out of here, 137. That's horrible.
Hey, just got.
So I don't know.
content
Maybe
where
you
we're
could
at.
do in the search flashback Trump long history of warning Newsom is the article. Is the headline of the article. Yep. There you go. That's the article I was looking for. And if you scroll down a little bit, President-elect Trump, during his first administration, put Gavin Newsom on notice for his handling of repeated wildfires in the state, years ahead of the devastating Los Angeles wildfires currently raging. The governor of California, Gavin Newsom, has done a terrible job of forest management. I told him from the first day we met that he must clean his forest floors, regardless of what his bosses, the environmentalists, demand of him. Must also do burns and cut fire stoppers. The former and upcoming president posted to X on 2019. 2019. So this has been going on for a while. And so that's one issue, is just the bad management. There's things they can do to clean it up so that
to prevent the spread of the fires.
Well, when you have nothing but basically kindling on the ground, and then you don't have rain, you're just asking for fucking trouble.
Yeah.
And then there's certain ways that they can burn certain parts so that if something does start, it's going to be hard to hop an area where it'll stop in a certain area. I don't know all the techniques for that.
Yeah.
I just know there are
Ways
fire
to
management
prevent it, yeah.
techniques. And I know that money was cut from the budget for the Los Angeles Fire Department. And then the other big issue is water. And water is an issue not just for fire management, but for farmers and everything else. And there's things we could be doing. We actually have the water in Northern California. It's allowing it to flow down.
Yep.
And the people standing in the way are environmentalists. And I think after, look, they're not special, but you're talking, you can't continue to have this because you can't force insurers to insure there. They'll just pull out of the whole state. A number of them have.
Yep.
All right. Which then raises the prices for everyone. And because this could be $20 billion, like, look, if the idea of insurance is to spread the risk among all the policyholders. That's the idea of insurance. But you have to take in more money than you're putting out.
That's how businesses
This is
work.
how it works. And something else has to be done. Like, I guess it was a fish that was stopping it in an area. I saw something about that in the reservoirs.
Like they didn't want to like kill off the fish.
They were worried about it.
Yeah,
It wasn't even like a fish you should care about. I think it was smelt.
Yeah.
Do we really care? Like, really? That's more important than this? And we're talking about houses. This house right here. Perfectly fine house. This is a $500,000 house in Arizona.
Yeah.
This, I would say, probably is between $1.2 million and $1.5 million, easy, all day long. Maybe a little bit more, but somewhere between in LA.
Oh, easily. Easily, yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, a 1,400 square foot house can be $1 million there.
Yeah.
Okay. And then how are they going to rebuild all of that, and how fast? And it wasn't just the houses, it's the businesses and stuff that were lost too. I mean, I loved Malibu the last time I was out in LA. What's going to be left of Malibu?
Not a lot from
It doesn't seem like it.
From what I've seen.
And like I said, I know that I'm not trying to position it where celebrities are better people than us. We're not. But a good majority of them are liberals, and even they're tired of this shit.
Yeah.
They're not going to tolerate this anymore.
I mean, there's like one of the bigger like areas that got hit. It's like next to like the whole like
And
Beverly Hills,
I
LA.
guess, and it's being talked about in some places, but after 2019, Gavin Newsom claimed that they took certain measures and claimed that they did it covering a certain amount of acres. I think that's lower in the story.
Focus on protecting lives and battling this blazes, not protecting
Go
folks.
down further. And then the rest of the country is paying for these fuckers too. And immediately they want to go to climate change. But when we go to blame them, the leadership in California, oh, how dare we blame the leadership of California while people are still struggling and trying to protect their lives and get out. Like, you people do that shit. You're doing the same thing. This is not climate change. This is just, and even if it were climate change, go with that. There are still things that can be done, and he's not doing them. There, right there, that's where it is. So the investigation found Newsom overstated by an astounding 690% the number of acres treated with fuel breaks and prescribed burns in the very forestry projects that he said needed to be prioritized to protect the state's most vulnerable community. So he knew what to do. He didn't do it, and then he lied about doing it. And now we know he didn't do it, besides this investigation, because we have the fire to prove it. How should this guy not be held accountable? Maybe even legally. This is just...
I mean, 690% is
well,
he
claimed they did 90,000 acres, and the government's data, His state's data showed that they basically did a little over 11,000.
That's quite a big of a difference if you're looking for like
you can't round that up.
Fires, like
11,399 does not get rounded up to 90,000.
Especially
you're
if, like,
stretching it if you round it up to 15.
Yes,
you'd be better off rounding it down and saying we did about 10.
Yeah,
or a little over 10.
Yeah,
saying that would be more accurate. But it's not being accurate to claim that you did something that you didn't do that would have helped. And then when you add this along with the lack of water and what was being done with these reservoirs and that water is available, look,
I can see where
you know what? Animals are important, dude. They are. The ecosystem is important. I know liberals like to think that we don't care about that shit, but we do. Here's the difference. I don't prioritize that shit over human motherfucking life. I don't.
I mean, that makes sense. Yeah. Yeah. But they want to protect every and every single little animal.
Some people are not going to like this. Remember I mentioned my friend, my neighbor, Jesse Castilla, who lived 2 houses down from me. Well, Jesse was a year younger than me.
Okay.
So I got my license first. So they were going to be riding with me.
Okay.
Okay. In my 76 Nova, something like that.
Okay.
And Jesse's dad had a talk with me about being a responsible driver.
Okay.
And that his kids were going to be in my car. And one of the things he told me, well, probably the thing that was the most important to him.
Okay.
And I'm not sure if I remember the story correctly, but I think it had something to do with that somebody he knew died because of this. And he just said, look, if you're driving and there's an animal in the road,
you're not don't swerve for it.
Do not swerve. Yeah. Hit that motherfucking thing.
Oh yeah.
Because I believe he knew somebody that did swerve and then there was an accident and that person died.
Yeah.
So that was a message from him to me. And I've always done. Look, I don't want to kill somebody's dog.
Yep.
I don't want to kill a rabbit. I don't want to kill something
that doesn't need to be.
And if I can safely, without swerving, slow down or something, I'll absolutely do that. I'm not searching for shit to target and to kill.
Yeah.
That's not what he said. But don't make a dramatic move.
And putting other people into danger and stuff like that.
His sons are more important than that dog, that cat, that rabbit, that raccoon, whatever it was crossing the road.
Yeah.
This is the bottom line. And I know people don't like to hear that kind of stuff, but don't care.
Yeah.
It's the truth.
I'm right there with you.
Because you got these whack jobs that just think that the worst thing to the planet is us. And let me tell you why that's not true. Because most of the time, and even now when they can do very little, okay, men and women are risking their lives to put fires out. There was a time in the world when man wasn't here. And climate happened.
Yeah.
And fire happened and rain and whatever. There was nobody doing fire management. There was nobody cleaning up a forest. So it would build up and it would just burn shit down and burn and burn and burn and burn. We don't let that shit happen anymore.
No.
We fight it. We put real lives at risk to put these fires out. So we do care. These things happen much worse and burn more. And actually, the other thing people don't want to believe, yes, there may be deforestation in certain areas that's greater than what some people would like it to be, but just on uh, just using trees basis, there are more trees now than there's ever been trees in the history of the world for billions of years. We plant trees. We replace trees. That wasn't done before, dude.
People didn't care too much about the replacement part.
Well,
but now,
but before
it's
man,
like an actual
before
thing.
man, there was no one to replace it.
Yeah, it was just the nature. The one wherever the seed managed to fall in is where they would grow.
Yep.
And now we have people that are like
on purpose,
daily planting
because
trees.
In some ways, now I can understand that there may be some things that need to be protected, but just protecting something because it's old, okay? You have to understand that trees are in many ways a crop.
Oh yeah, yeah, it really is. I mean, because it benefits us in other ways. So like we have to maintain.
It's a crop.
We have to maintain it throughout the years.
Yeah,
Depending on how many
we
people.
we don't want there to be no trees.
Oh yeah.
We want to take trees and take them out and then make new trees.
Yep.
And just continue the cycle.
Just like any other like regular
Any
crop
other regular
yeah.
crop that you use.
You're not wrong.
I mean, Christmas tree farmers, what do you think they fucking do? It's a crop.
Yeah.
Pretty good one.
It's funny when you put it that way, but yeah, no, it's probably like if you were to consider it like with crops, it'd probably be the number one thing.
Maybe.
Because like there's a lot. I know there's a lot of companies that kind of like do like if you donate to them, they'll grow a tree in there, or like small things
everywhere.
Like that. Yeah, that's like one of the biggest things that a lot of people I've seen kind of like get back behind. So yeah, that'd be interesting to look up whether or not the tree farming is one of the higher ones.
Trump was right then. He's right today. And they can attack him if they want to about his timing of what he's saying. But how is it any different that after a school shooting, that those motherfuckers don't wait even a day before they're talking about gun control legislation? Right?
Yeah.
And there are victims there, just like there are victims of this. They don't wait and say, well, this is not the time to talk about it because we have victims. We should talk about it in a few days. They don't care.
They don't care. No.
They only care when it's not their issue or if it's the opposite of their issue.
Yeah.
That's the only time they care. Something has to be done and should be done, and he's right. Why should I don't want to not help those people.
Yeah.
But if they're not going to do the things that they need to do in that state and if those people aren't going to hold their legislators accountable, okay, then that should be California debt that they take care of. That shouldn't be national debt that everybody else has to chip in for when you're not taking the steps necessary.
Yeah. And it's not like it's not something that they didn't know. Like they obviously knew.
And it was known before 2019.
Yeah.
And it happens so much. And nothing will get done unless Trump does something about it. Nothing will get done unless he does. And then 2 years from now, 3 years from now, we'll have another big fire somewhere there, and we're going to hear the same bullshit again.
Yeah.
And that's the whole point about making America great again. Coming together and working on solutions. Stop with the stupid party bullshit and the stupid party lines, okay? How much pollution will and we'll know at some point, somebody's doing
Someone's
the
gonna do
calculating
it.
it,
Oh yeah.
right? About how much this contributes to pollution for a minute. Now, here's what's going to happen. Mother Nature is a powerful fucking bitch. Very powerful. And sometimes we think that it's going to be worse than it is. That we've had fires of oil fields and things when they were set on fire, like by Iraq, when they did it. I believe in Kuwait, when they set fire and did some things, that you had these big clouds. Mother Nature stepped in and cleaned it up quicker than it's. Think about it, that the earth is a living organism, right?
Yeah.
And so you have pollution, you have toxin, right? No different than when I talk about that we put alcohol toxin in our body,
Yeah.
that our body goes to work getting rid of that toxin and focus on that as fast as it can. That's what happens when something happens on Earth, like a volcano eruption or a forest fire,
Yeah.
or a man-made set fire with fossil fuels or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Mother Nature steps in to clean it up and get rid of those toxins as fast as you can.
Yeah.
Now,
And
we
it's not
should
always so
also
pretty.
we should also do what we can do as humans to prevent it and to help clean it up. And I'm all good. But look, I want clean water, clean air. Get the fuck out of here. Jesus Christ, people. But it just cleans itself up, and that's why I just don't believe that Mother Nature is as fragile as the environmentalists think. And climate has always changed and always will. And do we contribute to it?
I'm sure.
We contribute a small little amount. So that's why I don't believe that climate change is man-made, because before man, how do you account for all the climate change before man?
And huge climate change too, not like just like small little things. Like we've had the world like freeze over, and
It
all
was
that
the
before.
Ice Age,
Yeah, like,
for God's
like
sakes.
it was gonna happen one way or another. Like whether or not our contribution as a human race is changing like the direction of it. Like that's the part where people are like,
The other thing, have you ever heard of continental drift?
Yeah.
Yeah. The way the shape of our continents are and our countries are was not the way it was 2 billion years ago.
Yep.
They've moved. Things have changed. They've always changed. Man wasn't here making it change. So there were areas that were maybe more warmer on average and became more cool on average before man got fucking here. And it changed. And it takes a long time for that. Again, I'm not for allowing companies or countries to just willy-nilly, randomly pollute. I'm not for that. But I'm also not for paying off little shit fucking countries millions of dollars, billions of dollars that we don't know what they're going to use it for. They're sure not going to use it on the fucking climate. We don't owe those motherfuckers anything, as climate reparations. You ever hear of climate reparations? Yeah, that's a thing.
That just doesn't sound like a real thing. That sounds like an excuse to get some money.
Yeah.
Some money laundering scheme.
Is.
That's what it sounds like to me.
But Troy, you're not a scientist. No, I'm not. I just have a fucking brain I know how to use. Okay.
Like I can read into it.
I can read. And you've lied about enough things over the years that we've found out about in different studies and different things that we know you're full of shit. Okay. Look, maybe it will get harder in certain areas to live. And the other thing is, we allow building in places we probably shouldn't allow.
Probably, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it gets really expensive in Florida when you have $5 million to $50 million homes on the ocean.
Yep.
And then there are hurricanes.
Like think it through a little bit more. Yeah.
How many times should we replace those? Maybe that's not the best place to build a $50 million. Now it sounds great.
Oh yeah.
And if you want to take that risk yourself, take it. But that doesn't mean everybody else should participate in that. If you're wealthy enough to do that and cover it yourself, go for it.
You shouldn't have to drag in like the people in the surrounding areas because you want. Yeah.
No,
I get that.
So you get the good view and we have to bail you out? That's no.
That one doesn't add up.
No. And you know me, I don't bash rich people. I'm not bashing them now, but I'm also not for, bailing people out that do dumb shit.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And you do have to think, how smart is that?
Take into account where you are living, and then create the house afterwards. Yeah. You shouldn't have to. No, I totally agree with what you're saying.
That's it. Next thing up is for Trump. He also got sentenced today to nothing. But you're not, you know how they keep saying he's a felon?
Yeah.
He was not a felon until today. You're not officially a felon until you get sentenced.
Oh, so he was finally sentenced?
Yes, in the hush money case, which is so stupid. And he didn't cover it up, the documents and stuff. If there was cover up with the documents, his staff did it. And they may have done it at his direction, or they just did it and took care of that kind of shit, which is what I think happened. Because that's just how things are done. And I don't care that Trump paid a porn star to not talk about the short relationship they had. Not my business. Don't fucking care. And so this whole thing related to it is just dumb. What it does allow, though, is even though the Supreme Court denied a stay of the sentencing, it will allow Trump's team to now appeal the actual case, and eventually it could get thrown out. He can still win. So just because he was sentenced today does not mean this is over. It's likely not over. Well, I'm 100% sure it's not over, and we're probably looking at a couple of years until it
goes through.
Yeah, before it's all done.
Huh.
And he actually, took it very well. The decision by the Supreme Court. It's so funny. People are worried about how many, judges were appointed by Republican presidents on the court.
Yeah.
And two of the justices, one which was appointed by Trump, voted against the stay. So basically just say against him, okay? So there's not this big, even though it may seem more were appointed by Republicans, there's not this big right-wing heavy Supreme Court where the decisions all go one way, because it just doesn't happen that way. Because if it did, if the Supreme Court justices if they were partisan, which they're not supposed to be on either side, but if they were, well, Trump would win every time. Or whoever was president would always win with their Supreme Court or whatever it is. And that's just not how it's worked out. So it's actually been way more balanced than people want to lead people to believe. They're just mad they didn't get to choose them and different things like that. So I did really like the fact, and I will continue that on with the next episode that we do.
Okay.
We'll get back to continuing on with the health and fitness for the new year that we started. If you haven't seen that, check out the previous episode. If you're somebody that wants to diet, somebody wants to get back on track, you want to lose fat, you want to add muscle, I think we went through things really pretty thoroughly.
Oh yeah.
As I was listening to it, I was pretty happy with how we covered that. And to give you all ideas on how to structure a diet in a way that it can be successful.
Yeah.
And to me, diet just means, in a general word, a diet doesn't always mean to me like what it's become, which is losing weight. A diet is just what makes up your diet. What is it that you eat?
Yeah.
What is your diet like? And trying to make changes in there and work your way. Like the first, instead of, I really liked how we talked about, instead of doing calorie and macro counting that you're not going to want to do, with first, how about we sort out what you do eat now and get rid of the bad stuff and add in some stuff that's actually good foods that you say you do like, and substitute them and see how that goes and see if that makes a difference or not.
And like
without with the overall health and weight and whatever your goals are, that's a good start. And then next step, tracking the protein like we talked about, taking steps towards it so it doesn't feel like you're in this framework that you have to stay in and, oh my God, I broke my diet. We don't want that feeling. We how can you eat and live healthy, live at an appropriate weight for you, that you're comfortable with, that you like, and that's hopefully going to extend your life and not shorten it. That's what we want. So we're going to get back to that on the next episode, but I really did like the last one that we did on that. So we'll continue with that. And then we'll throw in, how I put programs together for lifting.
Okay.
And explain to people what I did with newbies and how to do that. How do you know? Everybody doesn't know. How do I work out? What if I do a 3-day workout? Do I work my upper body, my lower body? Do I do my whole body? How do I know when I increase weights? All that kind of stuff. There's not just one right way to do things. That's the answer, but I'm going to give you things where you can figure it out. You just have to take the journey. And continue to watch the show, continue to share the show. This is the Outlaw Apostle Podcast. I'm Troy Neff, your host. I'm the fucking guy.
Whoa! Who knew I would make it this far? They hated, they never believed me. Yeah, I would never drop the ball. I know I make it look easy. Yeah, Mayweather with the defense. I don't care what a critic got to say. I got them picking up the pieces. That mean you really playing with your life.